Today's shir is a shir on Tosfos. This is the first Tosfos in Hamoneach. It's Hamoneach. It's on Daf Chav Zayin Amud Beis. Now Tosfos is going on the words V'ikanami dekar l'chavita kada v'kada l'chavita. So it's going on the Gemara's answers that's trying to explain what the case is, and the Gemara says we're talking about an area, a neighborhood that most people call a kad, and a chavis. However, there is v'ikanami, there is also a small amount. V'ikanami, there is also a small amount. The kara l'chavita kada or l'kada chavita. Now, on this, Tosfos is asking as follows. Tosfos is asking, why travayu tzricha? We need them both. In other words, why didn't the Gemara just say there are those that call a chavis a kad? That we're talking about an area where most people call a kad a chavis, but there are some that call the chavis a kad. Why do you also have to say that there is a neighborhood that calls a kad a chavis? So Tosfos explains, and I'm going to switch to the next page to make it a little easier or clearer. The Gemara says, travayu tzrichi. So travayu, the word travayu means both of them. Both of them are necessary. Tzrichi means necessary. Okay, tzrichi, both of them are necessary. Both of them are necessary. Okay. I don't know how in terms of spelling, but okay. Both of them are necessary. Meaning both cases. The karu l'chavita kada is necessary, or the kada chavita is necessary. She'im hisna, if he made a hisna, if he made a condition. If he made a condition of the sale, he made a condition l'seis, to give. The word l'seis means to give. L'seis lo kad, to give him a kad. V'hiknelo besudar, and he made a kinyan with a sudar, some sort of a cloth, a napkin, a handkerchief. If he made a kinyan v'hikna, and he made a kinyan with a suda, with a piece of clothing, a cloth, okay? And that's how you make a kinyan. That means if you made a kinyan with a cloth, you're stuck. You cannot back out. And therefore, v'nischayev halokeach, and the buyer, of course the lokeach means the buyer. So the buyer was machayev himself, l'seis, again, to give, damim. He was machayev himself to give money. Okay, and once you make that kinyan, you're obligating yourself, you must give money. So yachol, you would think, yachol halokeach lomar, you would think the lokeach can say, lo etein lacha damim, I'm not going to give you the money, imlo titain li chavis, unless you give me a barrel. In other words, we said the word kad, okay? I call it a kad. I call a big barrel, I call it a kad. So I am not going to give you the money, imlo titain li chavis, unless you give me a big barrel. De kari le la chavita kada, because I call a big barrel a kad. I said I'm going to give you I want to buy from you a kad. I want to buy from you a chavis. And I want to buy from you a big object. And we said the word kad. I said, give me a kad. And I gave you money, and you made a kinyan that you're going to give me a kad. Now, I call a kad a chavis. I call a small jug. That's what I call a chavis. I call it a kad. I say, give me a kad. And I call a big barrel a cod. So I want a big barrel, and you made a kinyan that you have to give me this big barrel. Lefishahu mochzek, because he is holding on to the money. You see, in this case, the buyer didn't give the money yet. It was the seller that made the actually, it was the buyer. The buyer made the kinyan to give the money. He obligated himself to give the money. And now he wants to say, look, I'm not going to give you money until you give me a big barrel. And I'm mufsik in the money. I didn't give you the money yet. So we say in this case, below is linam basaruba. We don't go after the majority. The majority would say a cod is a small jug. And therefore, you can give me a jug and I have to give you the money. I obligated myself to give you the money. And therefore, I'm going to have to give you the money even though you only give me a cod. So we say that no. We say in such a case, no. Below as linen, we don't go basaruba. We don't follow the rov. We don't follow the majority. However, v'im hisna, again, hisna means if he made a condition, l'seislo chavis. Now this is the other way, so that's why we need the kari l'chavita kada. However, l'kada l'chavita is the other way. Im hisna, if he made a condition, l'seislo chavis. And now we're talking about the seller. The seller said, I'm going to give you a chavis. And the buyer, I gave you the money. I gave the seller the money. And we made up to give me a chavis. The seller could say, lo etain. I'm not going to give, again, the same lo as sorish of tain. I will not give lacha to you, elakad. I'm only going to give you a small jug. The curry that I call lakada chavita, that's the second half, and I call lakada chavita below aslin basaruba, and we won't follow the majority. Okay, so this is the first part of Tosfos. See, Tosfos we could really break down into 5 parts. What I did was part 1. The second part is going to be Omer Rabbeinu Tam. Now Rabbeinu Tam is going to make a comment from another Gemara, which we're going to see in a second. And V'yim Tomer over here is Tosfos' kasha, and then Tosfos is going to give really 2 answers, or 2 different ways of answering. There's going to be one answer. This also is part of the same answer. Okay, so this is really going to be part 3. Actually, this is going to be part 4 because it's going to be the first answer. And then Tosfos is going to give like a second mahalach. And that is, I see it's not on the board here, but that's going to be another way of answering. Just see if I can find it. Inami. Okay, so this inami over here is going to be the fifth part of Tosfos. Okay, so these are the 5 parts. What we have done so far is part 1.